Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching me from. I'm excited to be here with you on your favorite sport show where a comrade word meets global sport intelligence. I'm your host, Kyle Ojo. I'm going to be breaking down the world's biggest sports stories with sharp analysis, the honesty and the passion I truly deserve. But our major focus is going to be on the African Cup of Nations that is ongoing in Morocco, the quarterfinal that is actually very hot. The whole matches are getting hotter and hotter as we progress to the latter end of the competition. And in the meantime, I will also be reviewing some of the cup matches across Europe and among other stories. Are you an African football follower with much attention the African Cup of Nations in Morocco? Or you are just a sports lover anywhere in the world, or you are following Paris Saint-Germain? Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain. Today I'm just here with the club jersey of Paris Saint-Germain, the all-conquering PSG. Or you are a fan of the Los Merengues, the Galacticos, Real Madrid in Spanish football. Or you are a fan and a favorite of the Gunners, the Arsenal Football Club of England, the table topper in England. I tell you, this particular episode is for you. Guys, let's get started. Now let's take a few headlines from the world of sport today. Real Madrid edged Atletico Madrid in the semis to book a date with eternal rivals Barcelona in the final of the Supercopa de España. Real Madrid ran out 2-1 winners after goals from Federico Valverde in the second minute and Rodrigo in the 55th minute, and that has made Real Madrid to book their place in the Supercopa de España final against their eternal rivals Barcelona, which is going to be doubled as the El Clasico that will be played on Sunday. Now let's go to the world of boxing. Anthony Joshua, speaking after the accident, is saying it's tough for me, but tougher for their parents. For the Anthony Joshua was speaking on the death of his friends, and he's saying that it's a tough one for him. Now let's go to the next stories that we have. PSG beat Marseille on penalties to win French Champions Trophy. Paris Saint-Germain, yes, the all-conquering Paris Saint-Germain. The all-conquering Paris Saint-Germain has beat Marseille on penalties to win the topsy-turvy French Champions Trophy in Kuwait on Thursday. The match was played in Kuwait as a neutral ground to promote the French football. PSG goalkeeper was actually the savior of the day. Lucas Chevalier was the hero of that night, saving 2 spot kicks as PSG took the penalty, lost 4-1 after a frenetic end to the match that left the two sides locked at 2-2. Of course, it was Ramos, the magical substitute that came in for PSG and equalized the match at 2-1, where Marseille was still leading, but came in 9 minutes of play and equalized that match for PSG. One thing I know about this PSG team is the fact that the PSG goalkeeper and the goalkeeping team department of PSG, they have a way of grinding out penalty for the goalkeeper to be able to save as much penalty. If you look at that Super Cup they played against Tottenham Hotspur, it was just a similar case that now you see it here, and you keep seeing it in subsequent tournament. It looks like, I don't want to be so sure, but it looks like if you look at that goalkeeper, he has something, maybe probably the names of the players and how they play their penalties in his towel. There's this towel that this goalkeeper usually pick up after he has finished with the penalty. He goes back to the byline and picks up that towel and began to study the next player that's going to play. And of course, this tactics has actually played well for PSG as they keep winning and winning and winning. What a time for PSG yet again to start the year with a trophy. Of course, many of us will be wondering why Marseille was the one playing against PSG when we know that Marseille didn't win any of the domestic trophy. Of course, this French Champions Trophy is a match that happens between the winner of the French Cup and the winner of the Ligue 1. And if a team, just like what happened last season, PSG was the outright winner of both the French Cup and the French League, and then it was the Marseille who owed their presence after they were runner-up in the 2024-2025 season of the French League, of course, and that's what made Marseille to actually be there in Kuwait to play against PSG. Now let's go to the world of tennis. Olympic champion ZIDANE out of Australian Open. The Olympic champion ZIDANE Queen announced on Thursday that she was withdrawing from the Australian Open later this month due to a lack of physical conditioning. And the Chinese player is a former finalist at the year's opening Grand Slam, losing to current world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka 6-3, 6-2 in 2024 Australian Open. Now, still on tennis, Ademola Sabalenka has said that it's going to be an insane tournament scheduling for tennis player this year 2026, as he has criticized tennis authorities for prioritizing their own interests over player welfare, describing the current tennis calendar as insane and unsustainable. Now, footballers, footballers are complaining that the fixtures for every of these matches in the year is so clustered that it might be affecting their mental and their physical well-being. Many of them are complaining, and of course the tennis players as well are not exempted. They are complaining. Now, Aryna Sabalenka, the Belarusian star, revealed that she plans to skip several tournaments during the season to protect her health, even though she expects to face sanctions from the Women's Tennis Association (WTA) for missing mandatory events. Why does she need to face a sanction? Because under the WTA regulations, top players just like Aryna Sabalenka, they are required to compete in all 4 Grand Slams tournaments, 10 WTA 1000 events, and 6 WTA 500 tournaments. Failure to meet this obligation can result in penalty ranging from fines to deduction in ranking points. And Sabalenka, who was among the high-profile tennis player that was actually penalized in 2025 last season, because of skipping some of these tournament matches after he completed just 3 of the WTA 500 events instead of the 6 mandatory one that is supposed to have participated in. At least Sabalenka was there in Brisbane, Stuttgart, and Berlin, while the same thing happens to world number 2 Iga Swiatek, who was also docked point under the same rules after she as well also missed some tournament as a result of their health. Now here is it: the more you go higher in life, the more the responsibilities and of course the demands and expectation will be higher. But it's important that every of these tennis players need to know that no matter how much they are paying them, their life, their health, their emotional well-being is so important, and that they need to focus on how they will be better rather than chasing recognition, chasing fame and money at the detriment of their own health. Now let's quickly go to the world of another headline making round around the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I will pay Super Eagles bonus if the federal government fails to. I will pay Super Eagles bonus if the federal government fails to. Who is saying this is Wilfred Ndidi. The Super Eagles captain, Wilfred Ndidi, has made the bold statement to say, see, if the federal government is not forthcoming before now and our Saturday fixtures, quarterfinal fixtures with Algeria, that is willing to actually pay the team the bonuses that the federal government are owing them. And he's saying, no, this ongoing tournament, we have to focus our energy on the match rather than getting distracted by unpaid salaries. And this is my own challenge with the federal government. Every now and then, the NFF, the Nigerian Football Federation, they need to keep their heads in together and make sure that no one is distracted as we go further in our tournament. Of course, the Nigerian Minister of State for Finance, Mrs. Doris Uzoka Anite, says administrative processes for Super Eagles AFCON 2025 match bonuses have been successfully streamlined. It has been streamlined after he made a post on X and addressing concerns over delay for payment to the members of the Nigerian national football team. Now, this is very important that the federal government has to handle the payment of these guys without any distraction. How many times are we going to say this? Don't forget, these bonuses has been agreed upon before the start of the tournament. So it's not like as if they are alien to what amounts and of that each player we need to pay, would get. But they are saying, they are now making effort to say no, the delay will not happen again, as it was confirmed by the chairman of National Sport Commission, Shehu Diko, saying that all financial entitlement of Super Eagles players and officials has actually been resolved. Now, Diko remarks following, Pico remarks come very timely following reports that players are threatening to boycott training, and of course decided to travel to Marrakesh. But thank God, by this time, the Super Eagles of Nigeria are already in Marrakesh preparing for their match on Saturday against Algeria. It's very important that we as a nation, we need to treat our players right. It was an issue with the Super Falcons. It was an issue with these Super Eagles of Nigeria in the World Cup qualifying matches. Now they are in AFCON. We shouldn't be having this kind of problem. I think every administrative issues, be it whether it's coming through processes or no processes, everything has to be well handled and sorted, knowing the importance of such a fee to the Super Eagles player. Okay, let's turn our attention quickly to the transfer rumors and deals making in the world of football. Manchester City signed Antonio Semenyo from Bournemouth. Manchester City have confirmed the signing of Ghanaian forward Antonio Semenyo from AFC Bournemouth on a 5.5-year contract, keeping him at Etihad at Etihad Stadium until 2031. Semenyo, who has just signed that contract, is actually very excited to actually be part of the team and is willing to put to the right history as he picked the jersey numbers of Yaya Toure while he was in Manchester City. Antonio Semenyo has actually said he is actually ready to the right history and give his best to Manchester City after he completed that £65 million deal from AFC Bournemouth. Now let's go to another transfer rumors transfer that has actually been concluded. Matteo Guendouzi has completed his move to Fenerbahce. Former Arsenal midfielder Matteo Guendouzi has completed his move to Fenerbahce from Lazio. Fenerbahce discloses in a post via their club official X account on Friday. Guendouzi is 26 years of age, has signed a 4.5-year deal at the Turkish giant. What a capture there for the Turkish giant as they look at the possibility of them competing with Galatasaray in the Turkish football league, in Turkey league. Now let's turn our attention to another transfer that has been completed. Nigerian forward, Nigerian Super Eagles striker Sadiq Human has completed his permanent transfer to Valencia. Now Sadiq has joined La Liga club Valencia on a permanent transfer after he signed until 2028 at the Mestalla. Umar Sadiq, don't forget, is a very promising striker and has been very promising from the beginning of the season. While he was on loan at Valencia, and now Valencia has actually pushed ahead to actually make that transfer on a permanent deal. Now let's go to our final transfer news, taking us quickly to Nigerian Premier Football League. Niger Tornadoes signed Abubakar on 2-year contract. Niger Tornadoes have completed the signing of midfielder Ibrahim Abubakar ahead of his second stanza of the Nigerian Premier Football League season. Now, the Icon Allah boys announced Abubakar arrival at an unveiling ceremony in Mina. Abubakar will join Niger Tornadoes from Nigerian Premier League champions Remo Stars on a 2-year deal. That is a fantastic capture for Niger Tornadoes there. Now let's turn our attention now to the latest in the African Cup of Nations 2025 live in Morocco. We're going to look at the quarterfinal fixtures and we're going to talk a little about them before we give you our possible prediction for the matches that are going to be happening on Friday 9th of January and on Saturday 10th of January in Morocco. We have the first one we're going to be talking about, Mali versus Senegal. Mali are the only survivors who have not been AFCON champions, and they reached the last 8 without winning. Don't forget, Mali actually drew their 3 group matches and they beat Tunisia in a penalty shootout after they also drew in their second round matches. So they have not won on a regular duration of the match. They have not actually won a match. But their coach, Belgian coach Tom Saintfiet, has called his player national heroes after they won. They won the game. They equalized in 94th minute against Tunisia with 10 men following the sending off of Wuyu Koulibaly. Now they are still on the quest to actually look at how they can get a possible win against the former champion Senegal. Senegal, who are welcoming back centre back Kalidou Koulibaly after a one-match ban, and also Eduardo Mendy, midfielder Idrissa Gueye, and forward Sadio Mane alongside the core of the side. Now, there's a very promising player as well, Ibrahim Baye, which I know, and I'm actually tipping for. If he could start that match against Mali, I'm telling you, that guy has every possibility to score a goal in that match, because the PSG guy is promising and is going to give the 17-year-old is going to be very, very important addition to the Senegalese team after he came off the bench to score against Sudan, and that it makes him the second youngest player to do so in AFCON. Now let's turn our attention now to Cameroon and Morocco. Cameroon, who are playing against Morocco, actually on their history books, they have a favorable records on the history books, because older Moroccan supporters will have bitter memories of Cameroon, who won a 1998 semi-final in the Kingdom and went on to claim the second of their 5 AFCON titles in that 1988. Now, Cameroon has never lost to Morocco in an AFCON. They are also the last team to triumph in the Kingdom of Morocco, winning the World Cup qualifier there in 2009. Now, but why the statistics are actually of the side of the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, I tell you, they will be very, very, very high underdogs when they'll be meeting against the host nation Morocco, who had been doubt the tournament favorite from the beginning of this tournament. Don't forget Morocco, who actually went all the way to the semi-final in the World Cup, and in Qatar, they are actually ready to actually do justice to the AFCON title that has eluded them for more than 40 years, and they are ready to bring it back home. Don't forget fullback Akrab Hakimi, who is currently the African Footballer of the Year, has recovered fully from his ankle injury and will be fit to lead the Atlas Lion in the match against Cameroon. And forward Brahim Diaz, who has been on sparkling form, having scored in each of the last 4 matches of Morocco, and is going to be ready to actually take on the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Now let's take you to the other pictures in the African Cup of Nations. Egypt will be playing Ivory Coast. What a contest is going to be. Ivory Coast, the first defending champions to reach the quarterfinals since 2010. I tell you, since 2010, every other champion has actually been getting knocked out, either in the group stages or in the round of 16. But Ivory Coast have taken a step further by breaking that jinx and going a step further and making it to the quarterfinal stage in this African Cup of Nations. Don't forget, Ivory Coast actually had a bad record against Egypt, losing 7 of their 11 matches and winning only 1. Can they change this record this time around? Amad Diallo, Manchester United prodigy, will be out there smoking to see how they can, Frank Kessié, to see how they can change this narrative and this history to rewrite history for Ivory Coast. But don't forget an impressive 3-0 victory over Burkina Faso in the round of 16, with Diallo being outstanding in that match, is providing hopes of further progress for the defending champion Ivory Coast. Now, while the Ivorians were cruising to a last 16 victory, Egypt actually battled to overcome minus Benin Republic in the round of 16, ensuring victory only after 124 minutes when talisman Mohamed Salah scored that decisive 3-1 goal to beat them 3-1. Now, Salah, who have won every English competition, the Champions League, the Club World Cup with Liverpool, Salah has actually been having the African Cup of Nations as the elusive silverware that he desired to win in his in blistering trophy laden career in Liverpool. And Salah was actually been denied of the chance after he came to he won silver twice in the AFCON as a runner-up in the AFCON. So Salah will be out there for Egypt, leading them in the match against Ivory Coast, and it's going to be very, very tough match. I can tell you it's going to be very tough. Now let's shift our attention to the major one that is giving people like me and you, and some of us out there who are supporting Nigeria, the Super Eagles in the African Cup of Nations, is a match of the Algeria, Nigeria, The only difference between these two nations in their name calling is the AL and the NI. The remaining part of the spellings for this country, they are all the same. Algeria has been an AFCON buggy team for Nigeria, winning 4 and draw 2 of their 9 meetings. So, including a 5-1 dropping of the Super Eagles en route to winning the 1990 tournament at home. Now, the Desert Forces have put successful group stage exit, which in the last 2 AFCON, they've been exiting from the group stage. They've been exiting from the group stage behind them under their coach, under their Bosnia coach, Vladimir Petkovic. Now, Super Eagles were actually battling a lot of issues from the payment of bonuses that we talked about earlier, and the in-house issue between Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman, which was a major discussion after we played that match against Mozambique, where we whitewashed Mozambique 4-0. Now the attention now need to shift to this crucial matchup between Algeria and Nigeria. Osimhen and Lookman, who are looking to test Algerian goalkeeper Zidane's perfect record. Don't forget, the son of world icon ZIDANE, who is the goalkeeper for Algeria, ZIDANE, has actually been impressive in this tournament, as he's the only first choice goalkeeper among the 8 quarterfinalists to have kept a clean sheet in all of his tournament matches so far. But I tell you, this task facing him in Marrakesh on Saturday will not be easy at all, as we have Nigerian firepower, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, and Akor Adams, whose combination has actually been scintillating in this tournament, will be something that will be a stand test to the flawless record of the Algerian goalkeeper Zidane. Don't forget, Zidane, who is 27, has kept clean sheet in all the group stages match against Sudan and Burkina Faso before he was rested against Equatorial Guinea. And he was also recalled for the last 16 clash they had with Democratic Republic of Congo. And once again, he was unbeaten in that match during a dramatic extra time victory with the 118th minute goal by the Algerian team. And that was what made them to actually oust DR Congo in that round of 16 clash. Now it's going to be a very tough match. Records, the history books are against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The goalkeeper of Algeria actually going to be getting a stand test from the Super Eagles attackers, and which is why it's so important that the Super Eagles need to let go or lay aside every hindrances that could be an issue to them in this match against the Algerian national team, and give us the points that give us the needed win that we need to get to, so that Eric Shell, who has been fantastic since his appointment to the Super Eagles as the Super Eagles head coach, so he can get his target that is set before him by the NFF of making the semi-finals of the competition. Now let's go straight to my prediction that I have for you guys. Mali against Senegal. What is your prediction out there? I want to also hear from you. What do you think is going to be the scoreline between all these matches of this quarterfinal stage? I tell you, for me, Mali against Senegal is going to be a tough match, but I see Senegal winning that match 2-1. And I tell you, my favorite, one of the favorite stars I love so much in Senegal now is Mbaye, and that PSG sensational teenagers. I'm telling you, you can put your money into it. That guy is going to get a goal in that match if he starts that match. If he starts, I can tell you he's going to get a goal. Now let's go straight to Cameroon against Morocco. Although the history books actually is against Morocco in this match, in these pictures, but Morocco are actually the favorite to actually win not just this match, but the African Cup of Nations. And so my own prediction will be a win for Morocco, 1-0, Morocco 1, Cameroon 0. And then we have the match against Egypt and Ivory Coast. It's going to be a tough match, very, very tough match, and it's going to be a slight win for either of them. But for me, I'll go for a draw, a 1-1 draw that is possible. Can take any of this. I can take this match to a possible penalty shootout or a last-minute winner from either of this country. So either it's Egypt, the likes of Mohamed Salah, or Ivory Coast, the likes of Franck Kessié, Amad Diallo. They can actually come with a moment of magic and win it for their respective countries. Now let's go to the final match, which is the one that actually concerns me much. without any bias. Algeria versus Nigeria. Man, Nigeria has the firepower. Algeria has the goalkeeper that has been unbeaten in his tournament, in any matches that he's facing in the tournament so far. But I tell you, nothing is unbeatable before Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen and two former African Footballer of the Year that we have as our striking forces in the Super Eagles, Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman. These two guys, I tell you, they are more than ready to actually give Lucas ZIDANE a run for his records, and the likes of Akor Adams, Alexi Wobi. I'm sure that these guys will be able to get out the win. And my prediction for that match will be Algeria 1, Nigeria 3. And I know Algeria has what it takes to score, but I see the Super Eagles actually coming out smoking and winning that match. Now I want to wish the Super Eagles the very best of luck as they take on their Algerian counterpart in their quarterfinal clash with AI for a semi-final back in the African Cup of Nations right there in Morocco. Now before we round up for the episode of today, let's take a quick round some of the matches for the weekend. The English FA Cup, the round 3 of the English FA Cup will be happening this weekend. Manchester City will be taking on Exeter. Tottenham Hotspur, what a clash! London clash. Tottenham Hotspur will be taking on Aston Villa. Charlton will be taking on Chelsea. Newcastle will be taking on Bournemouth, and Everton will be playing Sunderland, among many other matches that will be happening in round 3 of the English FA Cup. Now let's take you to some of the matches that will be happening in Serie A. AS Roma will be playing Sassuolo. Atalanta will be playing Torino, and among other matches. Now, one of the top of the weekend clash is going to be the match between in the Turkey Super Cup. Galatasaray will be playing Fenerbahce. Oh, what a match that Victor Osimhen would have loved to feature in. But unfortunately, my guy cannot make it there because he has to represent his fatherland, Nigeria, the Super Eagles. The Galatasaray Victor Osimhen Football Club, the club will be facing Fenerbahce. These are eternal rivals. They are forever rivals. They are going to be playing each other for a chance to win the Turkey Super Cup. Now let's take you to yet another wonderful encounter that's going to happen over the weekend. Is the final of the Supercopa de España. Barcelona will be playing Real Madrid. That's the El Clasico. Another El Clasico for this new year. The first El Clasico of the year will come in the Supercopa de España final, where Barcelona will be taking on Real Madrid. Guys, you will not want to ask me about my prediction because I tell you a lot of things is going to go down in this weekend round of matches across Europe. Now that's a wrap for today's episode of your favorite sports program. I want to thank Almighty God for this opportunity for the success of this shooting, and also want to thank you all for watching me today. I appreciate your effort and your timing in watching this episode. I want to also give special thanks to my headline sponsor, The Box Lagos, who is located at number 63 Adekunle Banjo Avenue, Magodo, Shangisha, a place where you can get the best of fun with a lot of activities that are outlined for you, the karaoke nights, and a lot that is there. Guys, I tell you, anywhere you are, find your way down to the Box Lagos, where they will give you the best of car wash, the best of restaurants, and among several others that they have in stock for you. Guys, don't want to miss out. Just find a way down to the Box Lagos. Thank you so much, everybody. It's your favorite sport podcast where football meets intelligence. See you in our next episode. Thank you.